Saturday, November 27th, 2021. I'm monitoring several angles, I suppose, for Iber to Siberia. In German, they say Libere. For me, it's Io mi io. I am in a spot that it is a very painful spot. I was looking this morning, today it's very, what they call windy, W-I-N-D-Y, which is where the cold air comes at your face. Naturally, if you walk through atmosphere and climate and there's no whatever gust of wind, it's not as cold. But when the wind is there, the leaves blow down the streets, the umbrella turns inside out sometimes, and the hats blow off. So I have one piece that I don't remember where I acquired this, but it is from Stowe, Vermont, which is inside, that's S-T-O-W-E, and the state of V-E-R-M-O-N-T, and that's inside the USA. I only have this one piece. I put it, it goes down my neck and then it goes over my head to cover my face from the cold. They have a name for it, but I have never heard it pronounced. I've only read it, and I know the sounds it makes if I need it. I was walking down the street today. My legs, my lower extremities are swelling. It's been a struggle the last 43 years in New York State, where my legs swell and then they go down. It depends on several factors. I displayed the artichoke this morning, being the most virile of a prop to explain I can still have a nucleus and a cellular envelope that is intact, but in energy field, sometimes an artichoke occurs with a different dome effect that affects whatever. In energy, being under energy crisis at the moment. So I was looking, I've seen, not by touch and not by going anywhere close to anybody, but from a distal proximity, I can visually see somebody coming towards me. And there are some women, eights, like myself, that I'm in I have something called adipose tissue, A-D-I-P-O-S-E T-I-S-S-U-E. Not everybody contains adipose. There are some areas and regions of the whatever that have high saturation of adipose, and there are some that never develop it. I believe it has to do with interstitial plasmatic formation of someone in energy crisis, and then someone who is not in energy crisis, who does not form and develop this specialized tissue that seems to swell and shrink at unknown rates in biomatrices. I happen in this 1978 New York area birth and stasis. I've developed it, and that is at times what I feel is so painful. But I can see some women, and their face does not look like something that I've seen multiple times within my time frame here in New York. Most people that walk on the street, they're once, in a while. They may come, they may go from other parts of the country or the world. I don't know, because we don't stop to speak. They just are passers on the street. But I have seen women on TV and in the local Ajar, the field, that have not developed this adipose tissue, or do not have this swollen addition to their myelin sheath, or their myomere system, which is myo is the muscle cell, and adipose is a separate type of. There's no longer striated. I mean, you have your striated muscle, which does not naturally contain adipose. Adipose is an addition that happens. For myself, I've discovered it happened in a field of artichoke, we'll call it, that is at a disruptive whatever. That's why I have this bloated appearance, and I have pockets of it. But I don't know how it shrinks and how it bloats, quite frankly. But I know that it has to do with weather pattern manipulation in some format. I'm just not clear as to who or why, and energy patterns. Today, there was an announcement on the news. I call it Omicron. I hear that someone else pronounces it differently. It has something to do with a leader making some announcement this morning, which I am not going to disclose. However, I'm noticing at the same time and sequence of release of this message in the state of New York, my knees are popping and cracking, and the preceding few days there's a window of time where I'm hearing more creaking in the walls and in my body, on atomic timing between my mitochondrial DNA partner Linda, my mother, whom I apparated from, where I was grown within and then arrived. Our core logic between her and I that we share on timing. She was watching a TV show called ER, which had those bells and whistles and sirens that drive me not so nice places, so I try not to listen. But she was watching it, and there was a man. It was an interesting scene that I walked in on, where there was if I had brewed a cup of coffee and I did not add milk to it, it was that palette or color hue. And this man was speaking to another man in a doctor situation in a hospital. And he was saying he did not want medical care from the physician. He said he was part of something called Conjure, Conjure. I do not know. There was a movie called Conjuring. I don't watch horror movies. I'm not wired for horror. Linda does not watch horror, and my children did not watch horror. However, I just found out that Benjamin, in one of his schools, I think he was 18 at the time though, they put him in a film class on his schedule where they watched movies for 45 minutes and were exposed to some of the Hollywood theatrics, and he watched It, which was not a movie that we watched at home. Not that we really watch too many movies together, but it's not the genre. Horror is not the genre that we're really exposed to. But there's a movie called Conjuring, which has something to do with the spiritual realm and dark magic. I don't know if that's more like Santeria and voodoo. I've heard those words used before. But I don't know. I've never had a construct built. I don't know what these things mean symbolically to people. They're like an abstract, like a movie poster on a wall image that I've seen, but it does not have an actual placement of knowing of people who practice these things regularly. All the TV show had mentioned was that there's something called Conjuring where they're not going to be affected by something. I don't know what that has to do with. But this is all while I'm stuck in New York with some very interesting graffiti art in the local Bayside area, which I don't know if it should be read as almost like hatred but abstract hatred, not necessarily in the Bayside area that lives here, could be outside, that had it painted in, just so there's some awareness. I'm not quite sure how to read that situation. But that word did come up in a television program from the late 90s, early 2000s, that my mother was watching. Not a word I hear a lot. Like I've heard it used in context or in colloquial speech, like let me try to conjure something up, as if like a recipe, like you want to put different ingredients into something, and then on like a test kitchen. But again, those even those words based on the medical problems that I'm experiencing, just what I waddle at this point, WADDLE. It's like a it's like a side to side motion as I try to move my feet forwards in a walking motion because of the stickiness feature of whatever's going on in the local area within the weather pattern, while other things are going on elsewhere in the world that I'm not made aware of, but through some prime channels, I suppose, or a prime package of communication that I also don't have authority over, but is somehow communicating. Like, I was using the Artichoke as reference, and then it appeared on the communication device, which is out of the ordinary. So it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. Oh, and yesterday when Miguel was here, I had shown him the graffiti art that I was confused on because I don't have reference or conjecture or history on any of these pieces that could be considered perhaps hate speech of some sort, but I don't know whose hate speech. I had asked him, I said, this one, which had these big teeth in this, like, almost like figure 8 or 2 cells that are pulling apart with piano keys, which I call fino keys in Italian, with flame in the eye. I had asked him, I said, I've seen this only in reference, like on Scooby-Doo, and in, like, at a, what they call Tiki Bar, Tikibar, but it has more of like a Hawaiian feel to it, but they've used it at a couple of restaurants were an outdoor bar in Long Island that I was aware of, but I don't know the history of Tiki Bar. I don't know the history or where the culture or what the reference word is of where it stems from. I've just been in a situation where they served coconut shrimp, and there was musical entertainment that drew a crowd in, for a restaurant. But I don't know the origin story of where this attraction, setting, where it comes from, and if it has a larger grand scheme message or not. Because again, the humans, the earthlings, the New Yorkers have not taught my my time frame any of these things. They may have taught themselves in private community and in alternate education systems, but I was not exposed to it. I was not invited into it. I did not know it was available, and I did not know of its importance. Of course, now under medical duress and stress, I see a lot more concerning things and how important they are. But again, I don't have facility to reach out to ask these very needed questions, I feel, in trying to find how to protect myself better by not stirring the wrong anything. But I'm also I have to manage and document the messages coming into the container that I'm in, along with my physical symptoms, since I don't really have much of a choice of any other way to go. I mean, I'm sitting on a mat on the floor with my back against the wall. I've accumulated adipose tissue, but that is inherent of some outside force manipulation and problem that I know people work on. I just don't know where or whom and how to avoid it. So it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's again November 27th, 2021. It's a Saturday. Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And I'm in Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.